Well, hello everyone. My name is John Cottrell, and this is Soft Flow. This is a 60-minute gentle yoga practice, and I want to welcome you. Thanks for being here. For our practice today, we always use props, and that kind of goes right in hand with the title of this class, Soft Flow. We want to take our time and be gentle and kind to ourselves, and so we like to use props. So be sure you have a blanket, and we will be using a blanket today, not only for our hands and knees for some of the poses that we typically do, but just a little heads up, literally heads up, we're going to be doing some work where we are going to be on our heads. And so you may want to have something soft for the crown of your head. And along with that, you might want to have a couple of blocks, some yoga blocks or some soft pillows, or even stackable books like a couple of dictionaries that might come in handy. And maybe a bolster or a big cushion from a sofa or a pillow. This is just a yoga bolster. That's always nice to have for your Shavasana practice. And that's optional too. So let's go ahead and begin our practice. We like to start in seated. So I invite you to find a comfortable seat. You might have a nice pad to sit on, a blanket or a pillow. You might cross your legs, but you're certainly welcome to unfold your legs and extend them if that feels a little bit more comfortable for you. And go ahead and take a few deep breaths in and out. You might breathe in through your nose. Maybe your exhale is a nice sigh through your mouth. And just feel some of that loosening already begin in your body. Maybe a little loosening of your shoulders. Feel free to maybe create big circles with your shoulders. Perhaps roll them backward. Roll them forward, just some circling, just loosening up some joints. And even a little movement of your head and neck, maybe just side to side, ear to shoulder, or gentle nods up and down, or shake your head, no. Just a little bit of movement there. And then when you get that initial tension released, find stillness in your body. And just return to slow, steady breaths. Now, these might still be audible breaths. You might breathe in deeply through your nose. You can continue to exhale through your mouth, or you're using ujjayi breathing, which is actually throat breathing. So mouth stays closed, but the air is moving through your nostrils. You're welcome to close your eyes or just soften your eyes. Slow, steady breaths. Feeling stillness, sitting in stillness, moving inside. If you breathe in a way that you can feel your breath and hear your breath, it really helps you to tune into this present moment, to be fully aware and connected, allowing the things that are going on outside of you to remain outside, so you can pay attention and focus on what's going on inside. As you breathe in, you might just feel the breath rising upward to fill up your lungs. So that is a nice deep breath in. Feel that nice expansion in your lungs. And as you exhale, as you're able, draw your navel inward towards your spine with that little contraction of the abdominal muscles, that little strengthening effect, connection to your center. So again, as you breathe in, just feel the breath rising, filling up your lungs, lengthening in your spine, feeling tall in your seat. Exhaling to draw belly in, abdominal contraction. And of course, we know this as our abdominal lock. Do that a few more times. Go ahead and take 2 more deep breaths like this while we sit in stillness, using these breaths to prepare for some simple movement or gentle moving meditation. When you're ready, inhale and extend your arms out across the room, reaching that full stretch feeling. Reach all the way up towards the sky as you complete your breath in. Then exhale, extending your arms out, Let them float back down, just following the pace of the exhale, completing here at the end. Then start a new breath. Inhale, extend your arms out, reaching with good energy through your hands and fingers, reaching high. Then your exhale. Again, navel still drawing in towards spine as you extend your arms out, allowing them to come right back down by your side. Continue to breathe and move at your own pace. Your arms move at the pace of your breath. Slowly up, slowly down. Knowing that the breath is moving you. Breath is moving you. As you move in slow motion, just being fully aware of the sensations that are beginning to arise in your body. That might just be the energy in your arms as you extend them up into the air. The movement of your shoulders, the lengthening through the sides of your body, and of course, the movement of your breath. Good. Go ahead and finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more. And when you're complete, you can just let your arms rest down by your side or let your hands rest in your lap. Just return to stillness. From here, you want to bring your hands behind you. Just come to your palms or your fingertips. As you bring the arms back, also feel your shoulders gently draw back. You might even begin to squeeze the shoulder blades together so they are held in place. Then also just tip your chin up just a little bit. We're creating a mild back bend. We'll continue with some nice deep breathing. So when you're ready, inhale, press hands or fingertips into the ground with the energy in your arms, allowing the breath to rise once again to fill up your lungs. Your exhale here, drawing navel to spine with the additional squeezing of the shoulder blades together behind you. Inhale again, fill up your lungs. You might even feel that stretch quality in the upper chest, stretching right across from shoulder to shoulder. Exhale, navel to spine, shoulder blade squeeze. Just feel this new energy that you're creating in your body and this mild seated back bend. Go ahead and take 2 more breaths. After your second breath, no rush, just lower your chin. Walk your hands forward so that you can sit up a little taller. And again, just let your hands rest in your lap, arms relax by your side. Since we did a mild back bend, let's take a forward fold. If your legs happen to be crossed, let's go ahead and uncross them, reposition them so that your feet, the soles of your feet touch. You're creating bound angle pose or cobbler's pose, which is a nice hip opener. Here's where you might want to use your blocks or some pillows for a little extra support for the legs here, so they have a place to rest. Just very relaxed here so that the inner thighs in this case can also relax. So once they're in place, you can just hold on to your ankles or shins. And again, sitting up nice and tall to begin. As you breathe in, again, feel the breath rising, feel the spine extend. Exhale, pull belly in as a way of supporting your body and hinge forward just a tiny bit from your hips, but you're leading with your heart and chin coming forward. Hold here for a moment, even for a full breath or two. And we'll do that same thing again, keeping this angle in the body. Inhale to feel more extension through the spine. Exhale, pull belly in and hinge forward a tiny bit more. These don't have to be rushed or forced in any way. We're just maintaining the theme of our practice, that soft flow, gentle yoga practice. Now you can keep the spine straight and stay up as high as you'd like to, but you're also welcome maybe to lower your chin or even round your back. That might even allow you to go a little bit deeper. Again, not going too fast. We're going to hold here a little bit longer. I want to go ahead and just talk a little bit about our theme today and what we're going to be focusing on. As I mentioned that we wanted to have something soft like a blanket, so we're going to be doing some head work today. And that's meaning we're going to get upside down. We're going to practice several inverted poses or inversions. Now, of course, this is soft flow. So we won't be doing anything like headstands, anything like that, but some variations of those things. And I thought we'd do upside down postures with reference to maybe things have felt a little bit upside down for you. You know, things have been a little topsy-turvy maybe in your life. And thinking about this practice as a way to reorient. So sometimes we have to be or we find ourselves in these upside down kinds of positions. But being able to reorient, to stand solid on 2 feet. So maybe think of that for your practice and your intention today. Just go ahead and take 2 more breaths. We can even consider this forward fold that we're doing, kind of getting close to being upside down, especially if you've lowered your chin a little bit when the crown of your head is pointing towards the ground. And that's what we'll really be doing with some of our other poses. Let's go ahead and come out of this simply. Go ahead and lift your head so you're looking forward. That should start the re-extension of your spine. You can even use your hands on your mat to help press yourself up so you're sitting up nice and tall in your seat. Take a breath or 2, reconnect. So that's really kind of moving from an upside down or inverted position, reorienting ourselves to a sitting up position. All right, let's move our props if you're using them to the side. Let's move to our hands and knees. So here we often use our blankets if you're using some padding to be on our hands and knees just to protect the wrists and the knee joints for cat and cow. So let's go ahead and inhale to lift head and heart, a little arch of the back. You might look forward, tilt the pelvis back, then exhale. Let's tuck the chin in towards chest, allowing the back to expand and round. Pull belly button up towards spine. That's cat. Inhale to look forward, lifting the chin, arching the back. Your belly might drop a little bit. Feel that back bend quality. Exhale, let's round it all out. And just continue with this nice flow. Even with these 2 postures that flow together as one, you don't have to go too deeply. You certainly don't have to go too quickly. Just whatever feels nice. You can just keep this kind of this unilateral movement if you'd like, but you can add more dimension to it if you desire. One thing you might do, for example, is maybe circle the hips. Maybe just pause from the undulated spine and just move the hips in a few circles. So go ahead and get a little free with this movement in this tabletop position. So you might move from your cat and cow, maybe circling the hips. Here's a few other things that you might want to do if you'd like. You might thread the needle, which is a nice twist. You might even sit back into child's pose. Or maybe you're just continuing with your cat and cow flow. It's a nice undulation of the spine. Gets the pelvis in motion to help release the pelvis and your low back. Let's take 3 more breaths. Take your time. When you're finished with those 3 breaths, just come back to stillness here on your hands and knees. Hold for a moment. And then go ahead and sit back as you're able into hero pose. We won't be here too long, so if you can, go ahead and stay in this position. But if you need to, just come to a seated position. It's going to be here for just a few breaths. What I would like for you to do is sit up nice and tall, whether you're sitting or you're in hero pose with a well-extended neck and your focus is forward. We're going to take both hands just behind the head, just even to assist the lengthening of the neck. So a gentle drawing of the head up, not too much of a pull, not forced, but just help this little guidance of the neck extension. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, nod, or just bring the chin slowly down towards the chest. And with the hands behind the head, a very gentle press, not too forced at all. We're just taking a nodding sensation so we can actually create a little length through the back of the neck. And as you're able, even just imagining that you can breathe into the back of your neck. Maybe some deep breath and just imagine you were breathing into the back of your neck. Maybe even think of breathing towards the back of your throat. That might even help. Again, this isn't a forced nod. The hand behind the head isn't pushing too hard. It's just basically just holding the head in place and just an awareness that you're in a nodding position. Take one more breath in and out. Breathing into the back of the neck or the back of the throat. And maybe using one hand or two hands, let's go ahead and assist the head to come back up, looking directly forward, using the hands to help assist more lengthening in the neck. And then you can just bring your hands back down by your side. All right, let's position ourselves getting ready for downward facing dog. So if you were using some padding here, we can move that out of the way. And what's nice about downward facing dog, it really kind of fits the theme of today, which is going upside down, because downward facing dog is definitely an inverted pose. So here we are on our hands and knees. Let's set up by stepping the hands forward. And as you step them forward, spread out your fingers really wide. Open your palm so you can feel the stretch between each finger. It also creates a nice, strong, sturdy base. All right, then lean or press into the hands, right into the mat so your palms are nice and flat on your mat. And as you press, you can feel the energy in your arms are a little straighter and stronger. Go ahead and tuck your toes behind you. Let's take another cat and cow flow. It starts with an inhale. That's your cow. Inhale, look up. Exhale, tuck chin in underneath, rounded back. Hold that position as you now lift the knees off the ground, sending your hips into the air. And now you're in your inverted pose, downward facing dog. Let's hold here for several breaths. Soft or a little bend in the knees, hips nice and high, hands pressing strongly into the ground, strong arms. And give your head a little bit of a shake. Sometimes we hold this posture, but put tension in the neck. So go ahead and just, again, just like you did at the beginning of the practice, just nod yes, shake head no, even ear to shoulder. Just a little movement there, just to release. And just know that your crown or the top of your head is kind of pointing directly down at the ground. Our inverted posture. So from our inversion, we're going to be moved to standing. Let's start by looking at the space between the hands. Take a walk up towards the hands or up into a place where your feet are firm on the mat. You'll be in a deep forward fold for a moment. Then inhale, slide your hands up to your knees or thighs, extending your spine, flat back. Exhale, fold. And again, releasing the head, neck, and shoulders for a moment. Even though we're standing, it's a upside down type position, crown pointing towards the floor. Go ahead and shift your weight back towards your heels, bend your knees like you're sitting down into a chair. Look forward. Then spread your wings, take your arms out to the side, then stand up nice and tall. Reach up into the air, reach. Let's actually hold here for a couple breaths. Reach up even more. Exhale. One more reach with your inhale. Then exhale, we'll bring the arms down by your side. And here's our reorientation. Mountain pose. Take a moment to be fully aware of both feet rooted into the ground, feeling tall, steady. You might even have the palms facing forward, which naturally rolls your shoulders back. So you have nice posture here too. Take a breath or two. Let's go ahead and continue our flow. We'll go into a sun salute. Here we go. Inhale, reach into the sky. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, sitting back and down into that imaginary chair. Hands come down, let the head drop. There's our forward fold. Inhale, slide your hands up to your knees or thighs. This is a half forward fold or monkey pose. The exhale, slowly fold again. Good bend in the knees so you can actually place your palms on the mat. Spread out your fingers first. That strong base. Plant the hands and then step back. Both feet until you're in plank pose or a high push-up position. Breathe in. Exhale, bend your knees a little, send your hips into the air. Here's our return to our inverted posture we know well, downward facing dog. Release the head, neck, and shoulders. Give the head a bit of a shake. Inhale, extend right leg up behind you. It doesn't have to lift high. Just reach back, nice and long, very strong. Exhale, bend your right knee, bring it in underneath you towards your chin or chest, shifting your body weight forward so your shoulders are over your wrists. Set the right foot down onto the mat. Also set your left knee down onto your mat. That way you can reach back, pick up the right foot, and place it up a little higher on your mat next to your right hand. Go ahead and re-lift the left knee. We'll be in a lunge for a moment. If your weight is forward like mine is, we want to pull the hips back towards the back edge of your mat. So we're creating a balance in the body, taking a lot of the weight away from the hands so you can literally rise up to your fingertips. From there, bring your hands up to your thighs. Press into the thighs to help extend your spine. We're going to pause here for a second in this 45-degree angle. Make sure there's still length in the neck. Activate your back heel by pushing towards the ground. That should create an anchor effect. Squeeze your inner thighs to center like you're holding on to something between your knees. That should activate the legs. Then take your arms out to the side. Reach up as your torso gets nice and tall and long. And then lunge a little bit. Just bend both knees a little bit, and that should allow you to sink right into the pocket of this pose. I'm going to breathe in. Exhale, pivot left heel to the ground. You'll turn sideways. Bring your arms down to parallel. We'll be in warrior two. Hold here for a moment. Nice extension through the arms. Strong legs and feet. Side angle. Reach out over the right leg. Angled upper body. Rotate the arms. Bring your right arm down while the left arm reaches into the air. Just a nice opening up of the chest. Several breaths here. Let's take a breath in, expanding a bit more. We'll exhale to turn towards the ground. Carefully fold, plant the hands into the mat, spread out your fingers. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. This should allow the body to be in a runner's lunge position. Then slide the right foot back to meet the other, returning to plank pose. Inhale for length. Exhale, bend in the knees, hips into the air. Inverted pose. Downward facing dog. Shake the head. Then inhale, extend left leg up behind you, reach back, strong. Exhale, bend the left knee, bring it in underneath you towards chest, shifting the body weight forward, shoulders over the wrists. Set the left toes down, set the right knee down. Go ahead and pick up the left foot, place it up a little higher on your mat, replant the hands, re-lift that right knee. Here's our runner's lunge. Pulling the hips back to find balance, less weight in the fingers so you can lift. Go ahead and bring hands right up to your thigh. Push into the thigh, just a little leverage and support to help you extend your spine. Feel that length in your neck. Right heel presses back and down for some anchoring. Squeeze the legs together. Feel the activation of your muscles. Even pull belly in. Core strength. Now extend your arms out and up, rising up. Here's our high lunge position. Bend both knees a little bit, sitting right into this pocket. Your next inhale, we get ready to move. Our exhale to pivot right heel to the ground, turn sideways. Arms come down to parallel, reaching across the room. Good energy in the hands and fingers. Be sure your left knee is lunging forward. Let's follow the left hand forward for side angle. Angled upper body, rotate the arms. Feel free to stay up high as I am. I only have my left hand up by my thigh. You might come down lower if you want to. Maybe your hands or fingertips can touch the ground, or maybe you've brought in some blocks. Let's hold here for several more breaths. Good opening of the body. Let's inhale. And the exhale to turn, so you can bring both hands back down to the ground. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. There's our runner's lunge. Plant the hands strongly, little lift of the hips, so you can slide this left foot back, plank pose. Hold for a few more breaths, just so we can really engage that good strength in the body. Go ahead and bring both knees down to the ground. And again, as you're able, sit back into hero pose. Alrighty, so we've done some upside down positions, ones that are very common and familiar to us. For example, standing forward fold, downward facing dog. Those are upside down positions. Let's try something new. You might want to bring your blanket in. You don't have to for this one exactly, but we can go ahead and use a blanket here. I have a folded blanket in front. Now, earlier we had a nice extension of the neck, and we actually guided the head down like you were nodding. We're going to keep this sensation for this next pose, which is called hare pose. Not hair on your head, like hair like a rabbit. Okay, H-A-R-E, hare. Okay, and that's the name of this next posture. So how it looks, and you can certainly do this with me or just watch. So you're in a kind of this hands and knees position, long neck, but then tucking chin really deep in towards chest, maybe a rounded back, and bringing the crown of your head, the very top of your head, right down to the mat. And it's basically this position right here. And if I gently roll forward just a little bit, I get that nice spacious feeling in the back of the neck. Okay, so you don't have to go too far with that. So let's go ahead and try it if you'd like. Have something soft on the ground like a pillow or a blanket. We want to be on our hands and knees, nice long neck. Maybe with an exhale, we tuck chin in, nod the head. Bring the very top of your head down to your blanket or pad. You should be able to see your feet, the back end of your mat. Use your hands pressing down into the ground so there isn't too much pressure on the head or neck if you'd like. And this is perfect for the pose. You can even roll forward very gently, creating a little bit more spaciousness in the back of the neck. Now, this is actually somewhat of a variation of the pose. To get deeper, which we won't do today, your head would be really close to your knees. So it's a really rounded spine with the head tucked in as it is. Let's take 2 more breaths. Let's carefully roll out, but then just sit back, maybe just into child's pose. You might lift up a little bit, take the knees out a little wider, maybe extend your arms out in front, still using your padding maybe for your forehead. And take some breaths here. And this can also be an opportunity for the neck to re-lengthen after that rounded feeling. Let's take 3 more breaths here. And then take your time to rise back up. You can come back to hero pose, or if you need to, again, just take a seated position. Let me demonstrate this next piece. It's another upside down posture, and it's called tripod. And it's actually a prep pose for headstand. But we won't be going up into headstand, but just doing the tripod setup. And here's some things that will happen in this posture. It's very much like downward facing dog. Let me show you. So I have my pad, my blanket, my hands kind of parallel to one another, tucking the chin in just a little bit and bringing the crown of my head down to the mat. You probably can't see this, but I really have formed a triangle. My two hands are the base of that triangle. My head is the point of the triangle. And that's why it's called tripod. Okay, so the crown of my head, I can see my toes, and my arms are at 90 degrees, okay, for stability. So I'm pressing into the ground with my hands, elbows squeezing in towards ribs. I'm going to tuck toes with a good exhale and lifting knees up into the air. I'm going to tiptoe forward a little bit, keep bending the knees, lifting hips high. Good pressure into the ground with the hands to take some of the pressure off of the head. This is our tripod position. And as you can probably tell, it's a good setup for headstand. I'm going to come back down and we'll finish again in child's pose. All right, so let's go ahead and do that together. So you've got your nice spread out fingers. Maybe you're placing them on your pad or on your mat and they're parallel to one another. You're up on hands and knees. Nice elongation through the neck. As you exhale, maybe tuck the chin in a little bit, and then gently bend elbows so you can bring head, your crown, right at the top of that apex, the top of your triangle. And just look back to see if you can see your toes. If you can, through your periphery, can you see your elbows? They should be bent at 90 degrees. Go ahead and tuck your toes. Get ready to move. Already feeling the elbow squeeze in towards midline. As you exhale, pull belly button up towards spine. And then when you're ready, lifting knees up off the ground. Maybe tiptoe forward a little bit. Keep a good bend in the knees. Make sure your hands are pushing strongly into the ground. Elbows are bent, pressing or squeezing towards midline. You can always come out of this pose. If this is too much for you, come back out of the posture. Otherwise, hold for a few more breaths. This upside down tripod headstand prep position. One more breath. And then we'll come back down. Sit back. Child's pose. Takes that pressure off of the head. Arms can extend. Neck can lengthen. Take deep breaths for the rest. Now, even though there is some slight pressure on the top of the head, maybe that feels like some of the pressure you feel like when things are upside down, when things in your life or around you just feel topsy-turvy. Our heads can feel so full sometimes. We feel heavy. But sometimes we have to endure those moments. And so we just tap into our strength. In this case, like our tripod, we were able to root into the ground with the hands, hug to center with the elbows, hug to center with the belly. Those are our inner strength qualities, even when we're upside down. And then we can reorient, we can rest, and that's where we are now in our child's pose. Take 2 more breaths. Take your time, move slowly, come up, perhaps to hero pose. Let's just go through another flow. Let's just get some movement back in the body. Let's move the blanket to the side. We'll be using that again, so keep it handy. Up onto hands and knees. Another setup for downward facing dog. Step your hands forward, spread out your fingers. Press palms into the mat, strong arms. Tuck your toes. Let's do cat-cow again. Inhale, look up. Exhale, round. Make sure toes are tucked. Lift your knees into the air. Lift hips into the sky, downward facing dog. Shake out the head a little bit. Inhale, extend right leg up behind you. Reach long. Exhale, bend your right knee. Bring it in underneath you towards chest or chin, shifting body weight forward. If you're able, foot can land nearer the hand. If the weight is still forward in the body, shift the weight back. Hands are light, so you can start to rise. Take your time. Walk both hands up to your thigh. Press into the thigh muscle to help extend spine. move your head around. We were on our heads for a little bit, so maybe take this opportunity to free up the head and neck. Nod yes. Shake your head no. Just loosen it up in this position while we're here. Pressing the left heel towards ground, squeeze to inner thighs, engage belly. Sweep your arms out and up into the air at high lunge. Bend both knees to sink right into the pocket of the pose. Inhale to lift a little. Exhale, open to warrior two. Nice expansion of the body. Reach, nice opening. Turn your head so you're looking out over your right hand. This should put a little stretch in the neck. Follow the right hand forward. Angled upper body, rotate the arms. Follow the head or follow your hand with your eyes. So you're looking down at the ground. Now the left hand is reaching into the air. Gently or slowly turn your head so you're looking up towards the sky. So you're just stretching the neck in the opposite direction here. 2 breaths. Take a 3rd breath in. Exhale, turn your head to look down. Turn your body so you can fold to bring your palms back down to the ground. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. Press hands firmly into the ground. Slide the right foot back, plank pose. Bend knees, hips into the air, downward facing dog. Shake out your head again. Inhale, extend left leg up behind you, reach. Exhale, bend the left knee, bring it in underneath you towards chest, shifting body weight forward. Setting the left foot nearer the left hand if you're able. Pull the hips back. Hands are light. Start to rise. Hands to thigh, lifting up to 45 degrees. We're going to do the same thing. For the nice extension of the neck. Nod yes. Shake head no. Loosen it up. Activate the right heel. Anchor by pushing into the ground or towards the ground. Squeeze inner legs together. Pull belly in. Once you feel supported, inhale, extend your arms out and up into the sky. Exhale, deepen that lunge. We're going to move right away. Inhale, lift out of that lunge. Exhale, pivot right heel to the floor, turn sideways. Arms come down to parallel. Turn your head to look past your left hand. So there's another stretch for the neck. Follow the left hand forward to angle the upper half of the body. Rotate the arms. Left hand down, right hand up, but look down at the ground at first. Then slowly turn your head to look up at the sky. Feel that motion in the neck. And that could be even reorienting, looking down and then looking up. Let's breathe in. Exhale, look down, and then turn your body towards the ground. Carefully fold, plant the hands, rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. Slide the left foot back, plank. Let's hold for strength. Couple of breaths. Let's bring knees to the ground. Go ahead and just take a regular seat here. You might even just cross your legs or come to a cobbler's pose. I'm going to demonstrate our next upside down position. Now here, we are going to use a blanket again. I do suggest that you use a blanket for this. Something that has a little bit of a crease, here a little bit of a lift. And what you're going to do with your blanket, just lay it across your mat like this, as if you're forming a small letter T, okay, because you want some mat space here at the top. So let me just show you what we're going to do. We're actually going to be moving into a variation of shoulder stand. We're not going into the full posture, but something close as a variation. And you want to have this little lift to protect the neck, the back of the neck right here, back of the head. So I'm going to lie down. And my shoulders are right at the edge of the blanket right there. My head is on the mat. So it just creates that natural lift in space for the cervical spine, wherever your neck curves, if it happens to curve. We're going to do 2 poses here. First, we're just going to get into this posture to prepare for a bridge pose, which we'll hold. You can even slide a couple of blocks underneath you. Use your hands to help lift. We'll just hold that for a couple of breaths and we're going to come down. Then you're going to rock the knees into body, but we need to get a little rocking sensation here, a little momentum, because we're going to rock enough to send the knees up into the air, hips up into the air like this, and see how I caught myself in my hands. This is going to be our shoulder stand position. So the weight of my body is actually in my hands. I'm just sitting in my hands, and my feet are in the air like this. So we're not going to go all the way up. We could, but we're not going to for this class. Just like this. Okay, so let's go ahead and get ready for this. So if you haven't already, set up your blanket, small letter T, behind you, a little crease right there, and go ahead and lie down. So your shoulders are going to be right there on the edge of your blanket. Head is on the other side of it on the mat. Bend your knees, feet flat on the mat. Take a couple breaths as a way of maybe just resting or preparing the body. We'll move into bridge pose. Take a nice full breath in to fill up your lungs. Exhale, and then lift hips up into the air. Now, they really don't have to lift very high at all. You can use your hands to actually lift or hold yourself up. You might even get your elbows a little bit underneath you as some leverage and support as you have lifted the hips into the sky. This is quite active. We often do this with blocks. You can certainly do this with blocks, and we sit on the blocks for a little bit more of a relaxed bridge pose. But I just want you to get the sensation, and we're really preparing the body to get the hips up off the ground, because that's what we're going to be doing in our modified shoulder stand. All right, take one more breath in, and as you exhale, return to the ground. Hold for a moment. Let everything relax. Then hug the knees into chest. Feel free to maybe create a few circles here if you'd like. Now, just depending on the position of your blanket, now for me, my hips are actually kind of slipping off the other side of the blanket. And so it's a little bit of a challenge to kind of rock myself up. So it's going to take a lot of momentum, some good breath and core engagement. So I want to give myself enough momentum to kick the legs back and somewhat up so I get the hips off the ground. Just use your hands. So we're going to exhale, rock back, lift those hips, even use your elbows. That'll help. Use your elbows to get the hips up into the air. Catch yourself in your hands at your low back. I've created a little seat with my hands. And so I'm just sitting. I'm just kind of propped up on my elbows. I'm upside down, essentially. Legs are in the air. Now you can keep the knees bent in this position. If you want, you can start to extend the legs either up towards the ceiling or even slightly behind you. If they go behind you, that's a different pose, which is fine to do, which is called plow pose. But if the feet stay up towards the ceiling or pointing or facing the ceiling, that's our shoulder stand. So again, just kind of imagining you're upside down. Things can get a little topsy-turvy, disoriented, but still maintaining strength, focus, and even balance, even when things are upside down. Knowing that, all right, it may not be the most comfortable place to be, but I'm able to be here. 2 more breaths. After the second breath, slowly guide your way back down to the ground. Go ahead and extend the legs out in front of you onto the ground, and even reach your arms behind you just to create a stretch and a lengthening through the entire body. Go ahead and bring your arms down by your side. We're just pausing here. It's Shavasana, but we're not ready to finish the practice just yet. But this is a nice little preview to Shavasana. But even think of this particular position at this moment as that reorientation. Connecting to the ground, no longer upside down. All right, let's do another upside down position. So that's one variation, that shoulder stand, but let's do a somewhat easier version, which we typically do in this soft flow practice. Now you can keep the blanket as it is, but if you want to move it, feel free to move it. This next one, you'll want to use your blocks, okay, or something that you can sit on. Okay, so we're going to go back to that bridge pose, but now supported. So with an exhale, lift your hips, slide your blocks or whatever you have underneath you, sit on the blocks. Hold there for a moment so you have that sense of feeling relaxed in this now supported bridge pose. And once again, we're going to get upside down, a little bit more supported. Okay, so if you'd like, go ahead and extend one leg and then two legs up into the air. Now we typically do this in soft flow. So this is another version really of shoulder stand, but a very supported fashion. Now the first way that we just did using the hands has a little bit more of a dynamic to it. And it's getting us a little bit closer to that full expression of that shoulder stand posture. This here is a little bit more relaxed, a little bit easier to be in, but still very much upside down. If you like, add some movement to this. So maybe the legs were extended and you were holding there for a moment, but now add movement to the legs if you'd like. I like to do a little bicycle pedaling, wiggle the feet, circle the ankles, wiggle the toes. You might even hug one knee in as the other extends. That's a nice feeling there. Even take the legs out to the side. Okay, kind of creating this V shape with the legs, getting a stretch in the inner thighs if you'd like. That can always feel good. You might even bring them up and let them cross like they were scissors or something, just crossing at the legs. Just feel free with this, just as we were free in our cat-cow flow we did earlier in the practice. Get a little freedom here. I think that's another thing we can even think about when we are in these upside down positions, that we don't have to feel stuck, that there's still some freedom. There can be freedom. Let's take 3 more breaths. You can continue your movement, or you might hold. You might keep the legs extended. I've got my knees bent. I'm just kind of in this upside down crouched position. And then whenever you're ready, just go ahead and bring the feet back down to the ground and notice that connection as you reconnect to the ground. Lift your hips to remove your blocks. Bring your hips back down. Touch the ground, another reconnection, reorientation. Go ahead and hug the knees into your body. Some more circles if you'd like. Let's add a hip opener. Maybe happy baby pose or reclining cobbler's pose. Just some hip opener that you'd like, or a variation of a few hip openers if you'd like here. Again, going back to that freedom of the body, whatever feels good here. Maybe there's a pose, a hip opener that you really like, and you just want to settle into it. Or maybe you want to try a variety of hip opening postures while we're still lying down. Certainly no rush to complete this little sequence here, but whenever you are complete, just prepare yourself for a twist. You might bring the knees together whenever you're ready, and then take the knees out over to the left side as you extend your right arm to the right side, creating that spinal twist. Whenever you arrive in this position, just take your time, just settle in, take some breaths. Stay here as long as you need to. If this feels good in your hips or low back. Perhaps take one more breath in and out. And you can bring your knees back to center. You can hold here for a few seconds or more circles if you'd like, just to reorient the spine. And then take the knees down to the other side. Same thing, knees to the right, left arm extends out to the left. Finding that sensation that fits best for you. Just for a little tip here, if you need some support, don't worry if the legs don't touch in this twisted variation. But for example, your left knee or left leg may not touch the right leg, and it's okay if they don't. You might even place a pillow or a block between them. Or if you feel like this rotation is a little bit too much, like that right leg doesn't really quite touch the ground, you might place a block or a pillow or something underneath the right leg so you don't over rotate. Hold your position as long as you'd like. Perhaps take 2 more breaths when you feel complete. And then whenever you're ready, return to center, reorient, hold or a little gentle movement. And while you're doing that, think about the next pose you'd like to take. Maybe you want to move into a posture we've already done. Just repeat it if it felt good for you. Or maybe there's a new pose or movement you'd like to add to help complete your moving practice. And then after that, think of your restorative position. It could be Shavasana, returning to that very relaxed posture, or any other restorative position. So first, maybe another movement or pose. And whenever you feel complete, moving into your restorative posture. Now that might mean grabbing all the props that you like to use for that position. Blocks, rolled up blankets, that bolster that you might have. I think I'll use the bolster. I'm going to place it underneath my knees. It keeps my knees bent in a nice, gentle way. And I feel a lot more relaxed because I feel like my whole low back and hips can really settle here a little bit more comfortably than just lying flat on the ground. You might even want to elevate your legs a little higher, your feet a little higher, or even elevate your upper body. You might even lie on your side. Just choose that comfortable, very comfortable position where you can hold in stillness for the next few minutes. Knowing that you're coming to the end of this moving practice, that we took the time not only to take care of ourselves, but also thinking about what happens when things can get disoriented, when we feel upside down, feeling heavy, and how we can still tap into strength and support as well as freedom when we are in those upside down positions, knowing that those are temporary positions and that we can reorient to feel rooted and grounded once again with that same strength, with that same freedom. Stay exactly where you are. No need to move just yet. Just an opportunity to return to the awareness of your breath, just in case your mind happened to wander. Just take a nice full breath in and out so you can come back to this moment to stay fully present and grounded. Return to the awareness of your breath. Just take slow, steady breaths. Maybe expanding the energy around your breathing effort as you're still lying in stillness. Before we rise, let's do one more movement. And this movement is with your head and neck, just as we did earlier in our practice. Just a little stretch for the neck. As you're breathing, just turn your head to the left. Just because of the weight of the body, you get a natural stretch in the neck as you look off to the left side, or just have your head turned to the left. One more breath. Turn your head so it's neutral, or you're looking up even with eyes closed. And then turn your head to the right. And since now your head is turned to the right, go ahead and roll your body over onto your right side. Take a breath. Then use another full breath to help lift yourself up. So press into the ground to help lift your body. Take your time, move in slow motion as you return to a seated position. Feel free just to sit on your mat. We'll bring in something soft to sit on. And as you're coming back to the seated position, feel nice and tall, a re-extension through the spine, that energy moving through the spine right up to the crown of your head, a nice lengthened neck. From here, extend your arms out and up into the air as you inhale. Inhale, reach out and up. Exhale, bring your palms together and down to your heart. Take another breath in and out. And as we complete our practice together, we bow, saying, Namaste. Hi there, thank you so much for joining me in this class. If you really liked it, go ahead and click that like button, and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss out on any other upcoming yoga practice with me. Take care. Namaste.